Molly.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
Yeah, we're live.
Good morning. We are going to call this meeting to order. We have a super busy morning and we've got a couple items for executive session. So we're going to hustle through this meeting. So I don't mean to be rude or off-putting in any way, but I'm going to be moving this super quickly.
I like it.
So we'll call this meeting to order. We had public comments come in regard to Burnett Woods signage and accessibility. We have no public comments today, and we'll move to approval of the October 16th minutes. And we roll call this because we've got two commissioners participating virtually. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
President Norton.
Yes.
Vice President Lee.
Yes.
Commissioner Capsolini.
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum.
Yes.
Commissioner Nye.
Yes.
Great. I believe we removed the Cincinnati Zoo update from the agenda today.
Correct.
We'll revisit that hopefully at our next meeting. And that moves us right to the auto arm leader lease renewal. Director Barron.
Correct. Since 2005, Auto Arm Leader Park on our east side has been managed. The all property owned by the city of Cincinnati and the park board, but it has been managed by a combination of Great Parks of Hamilton County and the Cincinnati Recreation Commission. The lease was last renewed in December of 2022. In fact, its signature is of now Commissioner Nyer, and it is time to renew it. This is a 5-year renewal that needs to be completed by the end of the year. No terms changed. It's just a simple straight renewal of the existing contract.
Great. Are there any questions on the lease renewal?
I only had one. Jason, remember, I wanted to know, what does it cost them to maintain that park? So in essence, what are we getting from the county?
I do not have the answer to that yet, but I will make sure I get that and get it to you.
Thank you. Thanks a bunch.
Okay, I would simply add that, this is an immensely important park to the city. Supports so many kids' sports and so much recreation by the river. So we're grateful to Great Parks management of the park. With that, may I have a motion to approve the lease renewal?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right.
President Norton.
Yes.
Vice President Lee. Yes. Commissioner Capsolini.
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum.
Yes.
Commissioner Nye.
Yes.
Great. Nature education fees. We had a very comprehensive update. A very, very short introduction to this update today. And then we'll move for a motion to approve the proposed fee increases.
As you mentioned, we had a tremendous presentation on the nature education program at our last meeting. I wanted to give everyone a month to consider the proposed changes, and that is done now before you today. In effect, we are raising the fees from $150 per nature education camp, summer camp week, to $200 for residents of the city, and we're raising it to $250 for residents outside of the city. This still puts us in line with most of the nature education camps, summer camps that we looked at as peers, in fact, under a couple of them. And then in addition, we're going to raise our other fees for programming by about 25% across the see a detailed outline of the proposed new schedule on that chart.
Any questions? Comments?
I would just like to comment on the breathtaking detail that went into the exercise to evaluate. That was an impressive business case, and I appreciate the team. I'm sure Andrew had some support from other members, but I take great comfort in knowing that I have a very clear picture of the landscape, and I appreciate that. So thank you.
Well said. I was going to offer the same comment myself, so thank you again. Right, with that, may we have the motion to approve the fee increases?
So moved.
All right, Commissioner Nyer, second.
Second.
Thank you.
President North,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes,
Commissioner McCallum, Commissioner Nyer.
Yes.
Great. Let's move to biochar.
In 2024, we got biochar, the architecture firm KZF under contract to develop the plans for the biochar facility. That was, originally we had planned to put it originally at Deal Road, but that at the time we got them under contract to put it at Warford Nursery. In working with Springfield Township, who was absolutely marvelous to work with, we recognized that there were going to be some challenges and unknown expenses in getting it from building a road, getting the electrical needs we needed. And so we moved it to the Sitten campus. In doing that, we kind of rearranged their contract a little bit, took some scope away, but also added some cost that was able to fit under the contingency. Now, as we're getting towards the end of those construction drawings, we expect to get before the end of the year, which is super exciting. They need to bring an engineering firm back on board in order to add the installation of the equipment to the construction drawings. We thought that was going to be handled by the firm that's giving us the equipment, but they actually need to be in the drawing so they can be installed by the company that's going to build it for us eventually. And so that's going to add about $20,000 of additional cost to the project. And this is the approval to amend the contract from $200,000 to $221,000 and $221,009 specifically in order to finish those drawings again by the end of the year.
Questions?
yippee,
When will we
huh?
start?
Let's
Go ahead.
get it done.
Yeah, I agree. When will we start construction on this project?
So the schedule we're currently on, we would get 90% construction drawings at the end of December. It's my hope that we would turn that review around internally relatively quickly and get them back to work doing the final drawings. I've been told the final drawings from 90 to 100% are 6-ish weeks in time. Once we get those, we'll be working with purchasing to put it out to bid and to know the exact cost of the project at that point. Once we put it out to bid, we'll see what the response is. And so my hope is that we'll put it out to bid this spring.
So we no longer have a contingency in this budget. We've used that already.
Correct. We've used up the contingency, but we're also towards the end of the drawing part of it. So where there's less expectation that we would have contingency. One of the reasons we had the high level of contingency in the original contract was because of the number of bells and whistles and moving pieces, not bells and whistles, but the number of moving pieces that are involved in this project, because it's such a new technology. We don't know what we didn't know what we didn't know.
So if we put these construction drawings out to bid, when will we be commencing construction on the project?
My hope, I guess, would be by next fall would be my best guess. Once we get them under contract, and then we would, be receiving the proposals back from companies to build the project, and we'd be starting to learn how we fit into their schedule, and then we'd work with them to establish that timeline.
But then it has to go through procurement and the money has to be encumbered, correct?
Correct. That would happen this spring.
Okay.
Great. Well, I know we've got a new schedule coming out for our projects here within the next month.
Next month, yeah.
Next month. So that'll be helpful to look at that. Obviously, we've had biochar in the works for a very long time.
Mhm.
So I know everyone's anxious to get that into action.
Absolutely.
Right. Sutton as well, obviously. Greg, do we have a motion to approve the request for additional design dollars?
So moved.
We'll take a motion from Commissioner Lee and a second from Commissioner Castellini.
President North,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyer.
Yes.
Great. All right, Sherman Rec area.
This is another property that is owned by the park board, but is managed by the Cincinnati Recreation Commission this time. It's also on the border of Cincinnati and Norwood. There is a developer, Gaslight Property, that is interested in developing a 109, 106 unit, 8-unit apartment building in Norwood. They need to come up with a stormwater solution. Currently, it's a parking lot, and all the stormwater that's runs off that parking lot to the west just runs down a hill and kind of makes that currently mowed lawn area rather marshy. It's not an area that's used for anything other than being lawn, kind of looking into the park. They originally proposed putting a storm sewer through that area underneath the access road that you can see in the middle there, and then emptying out into the forested area on the west side, which is just past that red line. We rejected that idea, not wanting to put additional gray infrastructure storm sewers into our property. Instead of proposed a compromise solution, if you will, that would be green infrastructure or like a bioswale kind of area that would run from the bottom of the hill, where you can see that black line, outlets into the grass. So they would store most of their stormwater on site. And you can see that red in the bottom right-hand corner. But then the stormwater that overflows for when we have extreme storm events or heavy rains like we did 2 days ago would basically slowly make its way through the grassy area. But it would now be like a wetland, or not a wetland, but like a bioswale. It would be kind of taller grasses, similar to what we see out back here, more of a natural habitat area. And then it would go underneath the road, and that there's a culvert there that there is currently kind of crushed on either end. They'll repair that. And then it'll empty into that bioswale area on the west side of the access road. And that red line is kind of riprap or rock that would kind of act as a border to kind of hold it all together. And then anything that made it through all of that would get into the wooded area, where there is a storm outlet that is currently washed out and eroded all around it. One of the requirements of this project is that they'll repair that at no cost to the park board, and repair that and get it fixed up and ready to go. And then in addition, they'll remove honeysuckle from both sides of the park. They'll create a sidewalk access from the apartment building into the park. And we'll develop a maintenance agreement, which will help cover the cost for our Division of Natural Resources team to manage that wetland. It's not a high cost because we don't have to mow it any longer, or rec doesn't have to mow it. It'll be an area that we'll have to do some managing and making sure it doesn't get overgrown or out of control. So lots to do and negotiate with that, but this approval is, since it is a change in the character and the physical landscape of the park, that's one of the things that the park board approves, those types of changes. So that's what we bring you before you here today.
Well, great. I think I like the idea of supporting, replacement of a parking lot with additional residents that will benefit from this park area. Any questions or additional comments for Jason on this item? Concerns?
Jason, I think you've done a very clever job in figuring out this program. And so I commend you for.
Thank you.
What she said, this is complicated stuff and not all that glamorous sometimes, but we get an improved asset. We enable something that the greater Cincinnati community needs. And I'm thank you for wading into that, which is hopefully figurative and not literal.
A little bit of waiting. Crystal and I got a chance to wander the woods over there. There's actually some fun trails back that way.
Right.
Great. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
President North,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Nick.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move to the finance update. Hetha,
Did you?
is there something else?
I'm going to do any
Okay.
updates.
No updates.
We
Sorry, it's
we
still on
certainly
the
can.
agenda.
No,
Great,
I thought you wanted to be informational only.
great.
We certainly can. I've got lots to talk about.
We've got a memo on the finance updates. Are there any questions for Hetha on the memo, or anything else included in the financial package this month? I mean, we're moving through this meeting even much faster than I anticipated.
Me as well. I would just note I guess to take a step back, but we've got some really great photos in here of the Alt Park Playground, which has been installed, and we're moving through punch list items. The entire community will be seeing a ribbon cutting or kind of a launch ceremony for that coming up soon. And then also everybody's treehouse is moving really quickly. And as you can see, some really good photos of all of the construction that's happening there, some of the problems, but some of the areas we're fixing up, including really neat at the end, unmilled lumber, which is effectively a tree trunk that has been finished off and kind of treated to provide stability, but will be a really cool asset to the park as they add it to kind of the support structure. And then, of course, happy to answer any questions about the finance report as well.
Well, there are two items that pop out as question for me on the year-to-date expenses, which are professional services and utilities. They seem a little out of line with where we expected we would be on a spend basis. Is there anything to know there?
Well,
Professional services, so the numbers can be a little bit artificially skewed based upon how encumbrances happen. Because oftentimes professional services, like the bulk of our professional services is hiring landscape maintenance to help us manage mowing and things like that, invasive species removal and so forth. And so we will typically encumber like a season's worth at one time.
Spring and summer.
Yeah, and so it'll skew those numbers a bit.
Got it.
Yeah, and on utilities, I would have to look into that a little bit closer. We don't really control those much. There has been a significant increase in our power costs, and we have tons of power accounts. And there's also been a change in the way that the city manages the power accounts. So they transitioned from I don't even know how to fully explain it, but we've got, the city has a management system that they use where all of the Duke Energy bills come into, and then they distribute that out to all of the departments. And there was a change in provider of that system last year. They went through this whole conversion process, and there were several months where we were getting physical bills from Duke Energy and then paying the bills without really having a lot of the backup documentation that we used to get. And so there was a transition period there that may be part of the impact on the power bills here. I can't say for sure.
You know, that's kind of interesting because by their not sending you the bill and you're not being able to question, I don't know.
I agree. We have several accounts. We have two accounts that are considered like conglomerates of multiple different meters. And it's kind of gone back and forth as to which meters are in those accounts versus which ones we get individual bills for. I would say out of all of the things that we get billed for, the Duke Energy bills are the worst. They take a lot of time to manage. They come in at their meter reading schedule isn't consistent for all of our meters. And so we get bills essentially all the time, and it becomes very hard to track. So we've got one person who spends a significant amount of time managing the Duke bills.
Interesting. Energy is going to continue to be a huge issue.
Yes.
Okay.
It's one of the things that we're actually digging into quite a bit with this Senton project, because the Senton project, biochar will create power through the ORC or the generator from the heat that is left over from making the biochar. But then in addition, the rooftop of the Senton facility is a massive footprint that we are working with our office, the city's Office of Environment and Sustainability, on whether or not we can put solar on top of that roof and how much we can put on top of it. There are rules about how much power you can generate for how much you use. And then so we're trying to work with OES and also Duke Energy in order to figure out how can we maximize that in order to defray as much electrical cost as possible. We're even looking into, can we count, for instance, this building as part of the energy usage at Duke so that we could offset all of the energy usage at this building as part of that project as well. So.
Well, and understanding our existing arrays that we have here and up there,
Mhm.
how they function and how much energy they're creating, what kind of crediting.
Interesting.
I don't have any other questions. Looks like you're in the throes of your big project.
We are, and I would say if I was going to report anything to you, it would be that in the memo, the finance and IT update memo, there is a little bit of conversation about the next steps and timing of our 2020 fiscal year 2026 financial realignment goals. So if you wanted to take a quick look at that, we're on goal number 1, which is the bureau realignment. We're hoping to have that complete optimistically by the end of this month, which would then allow us to move forward with goal number 2. But as we dig into this and we talk with other city departments about the ripple impact of making these changes, there are other things that we have to do. So Kirby in our group has been doing a lot of ID bills, which is essentially a journal entry, moving money from one location to another, which it's really not even moving the location, it's just adding the bureau or changing the bureau. But just the multiple steps that have to happen to make any change.
Head to this maybe for you or maybe for Jason. I would like to, I know that we heard from the investment committee about spending some dollars out of these endowments. But as I look at the last 3 years, we picked up $7 million in our endowment balances just since 22, short time, maybe a 40% increase in endowments. I want to make sure that as commissioners, we're looking at that every couple of years, refreshing our understanding of how these funds are supposed to be used.
Okay.
So that we can make sure we're overseeing their use appropriately. We did that a few years back. It's been a while since we have. It's easy to lose sight of because we're not watching them all the time, but this is glaring. We want to make sure we're getting the dollars into the places that those endowments intended.
Okay.
Thank you, Molly.
Just a question. Haven't done anything.
Wow.
Oh,
I'm glad you ring the bell, though.
yeah, it's big bucks in there.
Is indeed happy to dig into that. Yeah.
Great. Any other questions for Heta?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We've got an HR update. We never see Derek anymore. Timing of this meeting just work for him.
Unfortunately, it's always at the same time as the Civil Service Commission meetings, so he always ends up over there. Yep, things are going really well. Excuse me?
They have him pre-recorded.
Exactly. Gonna have a little video presentation. Things are going really well in the HR department. We're kind of off season for hiring right now, seasonals, but we're getting ready to ramp that up in the beginning of next year. As you can see, we've got 10 open positions right now, which is really the lowest it's been at since I've started, and 171 full-time staff is the highest it's been at since I started. As you can see here, that they're working on streamlining the part-time hiring. That's been an ongoing process to make sure we don't lose candidates during that process, but that's been getting better and better. In addition, we're always working on our training and our Parks Academy. Parks Academy encompasses much more than just training for how to operate equipment safely, but it also encompasses, which includes things like just how to use a mower or how to use different kinds of equipment, how to do all that safely. but it also includes different safety trainings. And then lastly, it includes professional development and some skills training, whether it's the Microsoft Office suite or other kind of things. One of the things we heard loud and clear through our shared values and culture project was that folks are looking for additional opportunities to train themselves up. And so all of that kind of comes under the Parks Academy umbrella, and they're constantly adding to that and trying to fine tune it. And then not only that, but then getting it out there. So it's one thing to have the trainings available, but making sure you're communicating that to people in a way that they can access it and find time for it. So really great work there. And then lastly, we are updating the Parks Policy Manual. Much of this is stuff that comes from central HR, but we did put a layer of kind of how it applies to parks on that. And that'll be a kind of a binder that everybody gets when they get hired. So that's getting a refresh for the first time in several years. Derek's hard at work at that all the time. It's good stuff.
Terrific. Questions on the HR update? Great. All right, we're moving on to the foundation.
So one last item today, and that is we had our annual Let's Grow local event, which is an opportunity every year to plant trees in a neighborhood. It is spearheaded by Crystal's team in the urban forestry section. Last year was in Avondale. This year was in the West End. It's a partnership between us, Cincinnati Parks, but also the Cincinnati Parks Foundation. And then, of course, our great partner at MadTree, who makes this kind of a pillar of their volunteer activities and investment every year. This year, we planted over 140 trees all throughout the West End. They even let me dig a hole, which was pretty fun. Got to use a pickaxe. And we then planted 140 trees. Bruce Construction actually constructed or created 40 new tree wells in the sidewalk areas around there to add new trees into the neighborhood. Really great event. We then mulched all those trees, which is just a backbreaking work to carry all that mulch around by wheelbarrows, kind of dump it in one pile, and then you got to move it all around. It was all centered out at Ezra Charles Park, where we kind of gave that a spiff up as well. And then, of course, folks went out and did just litter pickup throughout the neighborhood. Folks were heading out with buckers and buckets and those little grabbers to pick up litter. It was a really great time. The finance team came out, and they all came out and planted trees. We had dozens and dozens of volunteers kind of from the administrative side of Parks Department, but then we had hundreds of volunteers from MadTree and a couple other local partners. This is $2,500 to help fund that and help offset some of the costs the park board had for that. Much of it's just bought directly by MadTree or the foundation, but then this offsets the cost that we did have.
I sure hope it keeps raining for those trees in the sidewalks. Right.
They need it.
Yeah.
Great. Terrific. Is there a motion to approve? And a second?
Second.
President North,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Cavalini,
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight.
Yes.
Terrific. Okay, well, we have director's comments. Jason.
Excellent. So the Fountain Square winter changeout. Kate will pull up some photos here. But next time you're at Fountain Square, take a look at the beautiful plants and flowers. Our green space team did a wonderful job switching out the display a few weeks ago. They were assisted by staff from our conservation and land management team and from Washington Park. It's just a team effort to do this, but it's really one of the, Fountain Square is the living room of the city, and it's just always great how beautiful that looks right now. If anybody's been by there, they created the ice skating rink will move from Fountain Square to the new Elm Street Plaza by the convention center. That opens tomorrow, actually. But Fountain Square this year has a giant, what they call the Fest House, which is kind of a basically just a big Oktoberfest style tent. My wife and I checked it out over the weekend. It's really, really fun in there. Really nice area. We got some photos from Let's Grow Local, which I just spoke about. 300 volunteers, 140 trees, 40 tree wells. But as you can see, just lots of that backbreaking work I mentioned to spread the mulch. But then also there's a little bit of a program and some free food, which everybody enjoys. You can see that we were joined by Councilmember Mika Owens, Councilmember Nolan was there as well, and then the Director of Recreation, Daniel Betts, was there as well to help us celebrate. Really cool. The bicycle skills course has opened. Just a really great program. We had a bike rider cut the ribbon or break the ribbon. Just great. People are really enjoying it. It's been a really successful opening and exciting new amenity for folks to use. We had our all staff meeting at the end of the month. As you can see, just joined by a ton of folks, really good time. On the right side there, you can see the west side, our west side operations team holding the tug of war rope. They're the 3-time champs, defending champs at tug of war, and they are quite proud of that. As I like to say, the west side is the best side. But I've been told it was the biggest all staff in recent memory. So I'm pretty proud of that and excited that everybody came out and had a really great time. And as always, we've got a ton of events coming up. So I mentioned the Fest House at Fountain Square. Well, we also have the Cincinnati Chris Kindle Market at Moorland Lager House. Our friend Greg Hardman at Moorline just does a great job every year. He's had ice skating rinks in the past. This year, he's also doing kind of a Fest House experience along with the little chalets and kind of warming globes that he's got. It's going to just be really cool. They've got music. There's going to be merchandise, holiday lights, food and drink, entertainment, all kinds of stuff. There's going to be holiday beers, all kinds of stuff happening. Tomorrow night, there is a preview event for Cincinnati Park staff where there's going to be some free hot chocolate and all kinds of like specials and everything. They'll kind of like work out the kinks, as they say. But another exciting partnership this year is that they're partnering with the Carousel, and the Carousel will be open for all the nights of Chris Kindle Market, which will be really great to have that open in the evening. Normally that's open during the daytime, so that's gonna be fun. The Primitive Survival Skills for Adults series is back this year at California Woods, where folks get to learn their primitive survival skills like lighting a fire, shelter construction, and cordage. And I'll be honest, I don't even know what cordage is, and it's not defined here, but it sounds pretty exciting. And that's gonna be Saturday, November 22nd, so this weekend, but then also December 13th. I'll also just take a moment to shout out our new graphic designer, who's not too new anymore, but she's been here for a while, which is, we always have such great imagery and stuff for all of our great events. Winter in the Woodlands is also taking place in California Woods. That's this Friday, next Friday, December 5th. Guests will get to hike a luminary trail, decorate holiday cookies, make crafts, and enjoy live music. The Caldwell Nature Preserve is holding the annual holiday crafting event, Country Rustic Holiday Centerpiece Floral Workshop. That's the Country Rustic Holiday Centerpiece Floral Workshop on December 6th. And then, of course, Crone Conservatory is always a great place to celebrate the holidays. There's going to be a handbell choir at Crone. Pretty cool event. It's every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night during December, as well as Christmas Eve, where guests will be treated to a local handbell choir, free with admission to Crone. It's going to be just a great added piece of the holiday show. And then lastly, the annual Crone tree lighting will take place Thursday, December 4th. I hope to see everybody there. It's at 6 p.m. at Crone. Hopefully everybody can stop by, just see the great, the little miniature city that is all throughout the Crone Conservatory. You can see
Awesome.
Museum
City there, Coney Island, just always great. You can see Music Hall. It's just fascinating. The details incredible. I never get tired of just standing and staring at it. Always fun to celebrate the holidays in Cincinnati.
Great, commissioners.
Oh, I was able to attend the CPAC meeting last week. And that was very heartwarming to see so many volunteers out there who are so enthusiastic about the parks. And I'd like to shout out the foundation for their partnership in that project.
Great. Well, hearing no further comments, I think we're ready to make a motion to adjourn into executive session. Anything else before we do that? Great. So under Ohio Revised Code, section 122.21G, I move that we adjourn into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, or compensation of a public employee or official. That was a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
President North,
Yes.
Vice President Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Castellini,
Yes.
Commissioner McCallum,
Yes.
Commissioner Niner.
Yes.
Great. All right. Thank you, everyone.